All right. Hold on 1 second, y'all. All right, just changing my cameras. I didn't do one I want. All right, peace to Black African Power. Welcome back to Kofi. Well, shoot, my son got something to say. Let me know if y'all can hear this. Hold on. Put my headphones. All right. Check. Mic 1 2 1 2. Check.
Welcome to Kofi Piesie TV.
All right. All right, my son wanted me to record. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Hold on 1 second. I can't hardly hear. Okay. There it go. All right, welcome back to Kofi Piesie TV. I am Kofi Piesie TV. Kofi Piesie. First, I want to say ETM Hotel, Dua, Aku, Dua, Nature, Fatmu Alafie, Fatmu Riri, Fatmu Iwa Pele, Majuba Ibe Gungun, Majuba Ibe Gungun, Majuba Ibe Ilakba, Majuba Ibe Ilakba. I always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors because without the ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. Hold on, let me turn this damn mic down too. All right. So, man, like I said, man, today we're gonna be in a discussion. Today I got a brother. Hold on. All right, we got I got a guest. Hopefully we'll be able to hear him and he'll be able to hear us. I got a brother in this discussion today. This is a discussion to piggyback off of the conversation that we had a year ago called Africans versus Africans or African Americans versus Africans. Where do we get this information from? So this is like a continuation of this one. And hold on. Let me see. Somebody else jumped on here. Who is this? Hold on. Let me see who this is. Okay, this you Hold on, let me see who this is. Yeah, who is that? Okay, this you hold on, let me see who this is. Yeah, who is that? Okay, this you Hey, who was that? They just popped in.
I don't know.
Being in, is that somebody you know? Hold on, y'all, 1 second. I got somebody that popped in. I don't even know.
Hello?
Yes.
I don't know.
Who is
Hello?
this? Yes, who is this? Somebody you know? Hold on, y'all, 1 second. I got somebody that popped in. I don't even know.
Hello?
Yes, who is this?
Hello? It's brother.
Yes.
Sorry.
Who is this? Somebody need to turn their thing down.
Y'all, 1 second. I got somebody that popped in. I don't even know. Hello?
Yes, who is this?
Yeah, that's one of my brothers in the Netherlands.
Okay, well, we can have the conversation with him too. But tell him he gonna have to turn his radio down. Y'all, hold on 1 second, man. Hold on 1 second. He gonna have to, when he speak, he will let him speak. He can be involved in the conversation, but when he speak, just make sure that he have his thing turned down because it's feeding back when he said something a while ago. When I say something, it's feeding back. But before we get started, let me go ahead and run these down before we get started into the conversation first. If you don't have, and I don't even, let me get his book. Let me get his book. First, if you don't have Black Panther's new book, please go get his new book. His new book is called "Is African Spirituality a Religion?" It is from it was published by our publishing company, Same Tree Different Branch Publishing. So this is a nice publication. This is a nice question he put out here. This was a presentation that he ended up expanding and turned into a book. So if you want the book right now, you can go get the book directly from him. Just inbox him directly. It will be on the Same Tree Different Branch Publishing, hopefully in the next week or so. But right now, he's selling these directly. or he can direct you to where you can go get them right now. Is African Spirituality a Religion? Also, if you don't have Sean's new publication, go get Sean's publication. Came out a few months ago. The Coming of Islam, in Bilal al Sudan. This also was another publication by Same Tree, Different Branch. Also, if you don't have Spear Masters, a comprehension book, and the brother that hold on, let me mute his mic. Mute your mic right now. And this one is Spirit Master, a comprehension book 1. This is also Quabino is also, I hope I'm saying your name right. He also has a contribution in his book. This is a comprehension book. This is a various of different chapters that dealing with specific information. At the end of each chapter that you read, which is a small chapter, you read it and then you have questions behind it. This is a comprehension book. We're trying to raise the level of our the comprehension level of our kids. All right. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Y'all please like and share the show. And if y'all and so if anybody that want to be involved in the conversation, you know, let me know and I'll put the link in the put the link in the chat. Please like and share the show too. Please like and share the show. Y'all let me know on my screen share. All right, all right. Hold on. Let me click this in here over here too. I want to make sure that I'm able to see everything on this side here. Let me know, y'all, when my screen is sharing. Brother Carbino, you're gonna have to mute your mic until till I get ready for you to speak, because that fan in the background.
All right.
All right. So like I say, this is a continuation conversation from the conversation that we had a year ago. It is called "Do Africans and African Americans Hate Each Other?" Is African Americans thugs, criminals, and is Africans backwards and savages? And you'll see why I titled that in a minute. This is my disclaimer. I always put a disclaimer out here before I get started. I am not a teacher, but merely a student sharing information. And if that information is provided for the educational, this information is provided for the educational purpose only. And if you are in doubt, do the research and have it verified by someone qualified. I reserve the right to change. Hold on. I reserve the right to change the focus of this presentation, to shut down, sell, or exchange the terms, or use in my own discretion. I'll reserve rights to add information as it comes available, or adapt changes, or improve information as it comes available in the future. Input wanted, changes, additions, deletions are encouraged. Hold on, I don't know why this thing here ain't playing. Hold on. All right. Just always have to put a disclaimer out there before I get started. This is also, we'll probably be playing a video too. We'll be playing a video from a brother who is also, I thought was pretty dope, is a brother who's from Africa, was born in Africa, raised in Africa, moved to London, left London and moved to the United States, which Quabinin, say your name for me, brother. Say your name for me real quick so I won't be mispronouncing your name for me. Quabina. He ain't even listening to what I'm saying, but Anyway, copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under the section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976 allows is made for fair use for the purpose of criticism, comments, and news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. The fair use is permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringed. And I'll throw that back up here again when we get into the video. All right, stereotypes. Stereotypes. What is a stereotype? A social, and like I said, before we get into the conversation, I just want to get the conversation. But before we get, I want to build up to the conversation. So I want to talk about in these slides real quick before we get involved in the conversation is where, talk about these different stereotypes that we have among one another. Some of the derogatory things that we say amongst one another. So we can kind of figure out and establish. You're gonna have to mute your mic, man, till I get through, and then we'll get in the dialogue. Let me run through this because when you open your mic, I can hear the fan going. Okay, stereotypes is a social. Well, matter of fact, before I even do that, go ahead, brother. Go ahead, Carbine. Speak, man. I got a guest. This is a brother.
Okay, it's pronounced Kwabena.
Kwabena, brother Kwabena. But go ahead and introduce yourself before we get started, and let them know where you from, where you was born at, and etc.
Yeah, I'm a researcher, and I've been researching much about history, both in the continent and the diaspora, and also I help young ones as well who want to do their own personal research, and I've been in this journey since 2016.
Okay, and you was born in you was born in Africa. What part of Africa you was born in?
Actually, I'm originally from Ghana. I'm a son of immigrants.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we'll have a brother on this. Well, I'm gonna just call him Kwame. Kwame, I know he changed his name, but Kwame,
Yeah.
he has. Oh, go ahead.
After may so rest in peace, my late uncle. So for some time, I was using his name, and then I had to change it to.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
my original name.
Yes. So he's going to be in the dialogue with us today. And let me go ahead and establish this. Before we get into conversation, I want to go through these slides just to establish a point of conversation. So let me do this, and then we'll get into the conversation. Kwame, can you mute your mic for me for a second? All right. So stereotypes. Let's talk about stereotypes. In social psychology, a stereotype is generalized belief about a particular category of people. It is the expectation that people might have about every person of a particular group. Is there a difference between Africans and African Americans? So this is a question. This is a generalized question before I go through the slides. I want people in the chat to participate, and I want Kwame. Kwame, is there a difference between African and African Americans? This is just to build the conversation, but then I'm gonna go through some other stuff, and then we're gonna break down and get into the nitty-gritty of the conversation. But I also want to hear from other people in the chat as well. Other people, please get involved in it too. So, is there a difference between African and African Americans, brother Kwame? Can you? Is there a difference?
Well, for me, when you talk about people of the continent and those in the diaspora, especially African Americans and the indigenous Africans, for me, I don't see any difference. But the only difference we can talk about is, both have different cultures, because those African Americans have adapted into the system over here, but we in the continent also have our own way of life. So that has a big gap. But I mean, I've been working with a lot of people, but when I see an African American, you can see that we both look alike. The genes tells a lot. You can tell that this person has roots in this African country. by looking at your features.
Okay.
I mean, I had a one brother. Like he told me that a man mistakenly identified him as somebody from Guinea-Bissau, but
You
he told him he said that he is not from Guinea-Bissau. He's an African American, and the man was surprised. He said he looked like somebody from my village.
you're breaking up on us a little bit, Kwame. When you
Oh,
started moving around, it started breaking up.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we can hear you.
I had a brother. He's African American. He said that somebody mistakenly identified him as somebody from Guinea-Bissau. Before he let him know that he's an African American, he's not from Guinea-Bissau. So if you look at the genes, right, you can see that Africans and African Americans, you can talk about the genes, they look the same. But what makes us different is since
Yeah, you kind of
African
still breaking up
Americans.
on us, Kwame. You kind of breaking up on us. We can't hardly hear what you're saying. It's going. It's kind of sound like you're a robot a little bit, going in and out.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what you was doing with the first when you started speaking. It was pretty good.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. It was just breaking up bad. The signal where you was at just was pretty bad. But we can hear you
Okay,
now.
so what I was saying is that since African Americans, right, they are descendant of people who were brought here. Because of that culture gaps, it makes us a little bit different. But if you look at our genes, the how we look like, you can tell that they look the same people. They are the same people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'll agree, man. It's for me, we are different. And then what I mean by the African American and the African is different is, and a lot of people saying the same thing is culturally. Like we even though, like you said, that we have integrated, which we have integrated into the Western societies, and we participate in a lot of Western uh culture, but the African American also has created his own identity and has created his there we have created our own culture. You know what I mean by our own culture is we dress we dress differently. Um we have a certain style of dress. We have a certain way that we speak or a certain dialect that we speak. Um so we have adopted in our own culture. So that's the only thing that I say that the difference is that culturally. Let me see. I my stuff is working, sir. My stuff is working, sir, Sean. But let me look up because I know Robert African American people. Hold on, and we're gonna get into it. Hold on, man. Damn, I can't do it. I want to pin this conversation, but he said, and I'm on the other. It says African American people have different culture than francophones and allophones. African people. I don't understand that.
Oh,
Robert,
Francophone, French
he
speaking
means
countries and
some. Okay,
English speaking
go ahead.
countries.
Okay. Now I just got educated because I never seen those words right there before. But yeah, there is a difference, but it's like different people being a human and a African. Um, those are the two questions. But I want everybody else to get involved. But like I said, most people are saying it's culturally. It's a cultural difference right there. What about you, Sutek? What about you, man? What is there a
Yeah,
difference between African
that's what
African
I was
American?
gonna ask too. The what in terms of what, because like you said, there is a cultural, obvious cultural differences, linguistic differences,
Mm-hmm.
um, genetic differences to a certain extent. So yeah, there are differences, but there are also a lot of similarities too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree with that. Like I say, it's for me, it's just more of a cultural difference. You know what I'm saying? The cultures are very different. Um, but let me go on to the next slide, man. And we're gonna get deep in the conversation, but this is just like a starter. Now, when I say Africa, what is the first thing that pops up in your mind? So when I say, and I'll go with Sutek first, and then everybody in the chat, these are just two questions, and then I'm gonna go a little bit further. I'm gonna share with you why I say do Africans and African Americans hate each other. So I'm gonna give you a display of some images and some of the things that we have said to each other in a minute. But this is just a building starter. Then we'll get with those other little things in the slide, and then we'll get deeper off into the conversation, right? So when I say Africa, what is the first few things that pop up in your mind, Sutik? And everybody in the chat too, can you answer that question? What is, when I say Africa, what is the first few things that pop up in your mind? Whatever pop up in y'all mind, just go ahead. But go ahead, Sutek. What's the first thing pop up in your mind? Or a few.
For me, it would be the home of humanity, the home of humanity, the motherland, beauty. I associate Africa with geographical beauty, diversity. Um, those are the main things that I think of when Africa pops into my mind or is spoken of.
Okay. All right. What about you, Kwame? What is, when I say Africa, what is the first few things that pop up in your mind?
I can talk about the positive and negative if you want me to.
Just whatever just pop up in your mind. Just speak on it briefly. Then we gonna move on. Like what, when I say that, what pop? Because I'm asking because a lot of times when the word Africa is mentioned, just immediately a few thoughts pops up in people's mind, and a lot of
Okay.
Af. Go ahead.
What pops into my mind is royalty.
Mm-hmm. Royalty. Okay. What is there something else that may pop up? You can give me something else. When I say Africa, what else may pop up in your mind? You said royalty.
Home of civilization.
Home of civilization. Okay, some of the same things. So I share the same sentiments. Sean says richness. Sean says richness. Benita says where my ancestors come from. Edward Enigma 9x9 said home of my ancestors. Ali Dawu L says soil. Benita Sutton also says the motherland. Pure Black, Pure Black is crazy. Y'all don't pay Pure Black no attention, but he says naked women. Don't pay, that brother there is crazy. But shout out, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Y'all please like and share the show, man. But shout out to everybody, man, that's in the chat, man. But for me, what pops up in my mind, some of the same sentiments I think of home of humanity, which is not a belief, it can be scientific proven. Africa, I also can think of royalty, as he said. That's one of the things that pop up in my mind. Also is where my ancestors come from. These are just a few things that may pop up in my mind when I'm mentioning Africa, or someone says Africa. Just immediately, if someone says Africa, these are the immediately thoughts that comes across my mind. My ancestors, or where my ancestors come from, the home of humanity. Any Harris Sean said also says beautiful women. And you, man, it's definitely some beautiful women in Africa, man. It's definitely some beautiful. Garrick Murray says the motherland. Chavis McCrae says natural beauty. All right, so these are these are, before I go, I want to try to go into, and then we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna get deep into the conversation. Before we get deep into the conversation, Pure Black says Shaka Zulu when he mentioned Africa. So, but first, I want to now kind of establish a timeline of why I say and it's just a question I'm asking. Do Africans and African Americans hate each other? And then I got thugs, criminals, backwards, and savages, right? So this word is akata. Y'all might have heard me say this word before, akata. And akata, it means a jackal or a wild cat in Yoruba, and is used as a derogatory word by Nigerian/Yoruba immigrants to insult African Americans. Akata. a derogatory term for African Americans. So y'all might have heard me use this, heard me say this term before, right? So now you get the word African booty scratcher, right? And a lot of us have used this word amongst each other. This is a derogatory term that we have used amongst each other to disrespect our brothers and sisters in Africa because of the disdain images or the way we have been conditioned. And we'll talk a little bit more on the way we was conditioned, on why we perceive and think the way that we think about each other, why some of our brothers on the continent that come here don't fool with us, and why some of the African Americans don't fool with the Africans or feel us, or they, or vice versa, why we feel a certain type of way about each other, or give ourselves a certain type of energy when we see each other. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to talk about the social distance between each other. So African booty scratch is a common name, child and soul for fresh out the boat African immigrant from the continent. And me, let me turn this mic down a little bit more. And for me, you know, I have heard this word a lot growing up where I'm from. I'm from the South. And man, I done heard this word. And only I heard this word from children. Just been like this, you know, us as children and different people coming to our school may look a little bit different. You know, they will use this derogatory term as African booty scratcher. Now, these things, can you mute your mic, Kwame, until we get ready for, I mean, go back into the conversation. Okay, things African Americans ask and say about the continent of Africa. So these are some of the things that African Americans ask and say about continental Africans. I mean, do people have tails in Africa? Africans are stinky. Is it true that people live in trees in Africa? Or are you a African booty scratcher? AIDS come from Africa. So before I go in, and these are some of the things we say and some of the things that we ask when we dealing with when we talking about African American. We ask some of the idiotic questions and we say some of the craziest things, you know what I'm saying, about our brothers on the continent, especially those who are not in tune, especially those who are not well read, it's not informed, you know what I'm saying? And you know, so we ask these ridiculous questions and we say some of the ridiculous things, disrespectful things about our own kinsmen because they are our brothers and they are our sisters, right? So things continental Africans ask and say about, things continental Africans ask and say about African Americans. So we seen some of the things, just briefly, some of the things that African Americans say and ask pertaining to our brothers and sisters on the continent of Africa, or our African brothers who migrate to America, right? So now these are things that continental Africans ask and say about African Americans. Do not bring an African American home. Do you have a gun? African Americans are criminals. Are you a thug? African Americans are all uncivilized. Now, these are some of the questions and some of the things that our African brothers say about the African Americans. Some ridiculous things they ask, some of the ridiculous things that they say, as we said some ridiculous things, and we say, and we have asked some ridiculous things, right? So these are some images, right? These are some images. I'll go back to when I was in school, not in school, but me being at home, right? And I would get out of school every day. I would get out of school. I make it home about 3:30, or even, but most I would see some commercials, right? and they'll show a commercial and it has a European woman. Most of all the time it's a European woman, but you have European woman, European man, and they'll show a impoverished area in Africa, and they'll show images of our little brothers and sisters half naked, malnourished, pop bellies, you know what I'm saying? And, asking, could we save them? Donate this to the African such and such fund, donate this to the such and such fund for Africa. And I would see these images a lot in the commercial, especially. I don't see them as much now, but when I was growing up, you would see them all day. You would see these commercials. And then later on, they started gravitating and started going toward the nighttime. So if you was up between 10 o'clock and on up, they would run these commercials where they're asking for money, and they would show these images of these children in this impoverished area, and they'll show flies flying around them. And I'm just trying to build up something so we can get into conversation, so we can find out where we get these different perspectives about each other, why we think the way we think about each other, why we say some of the things that we say about each other. We're going to dig deep into that. So this is an image that you would see. But Kwame, I seen you had unmuted your mic. You was finna say something, or Kwame?
Yeah, I heard what you said.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So here's another image. Africans live in huts. So most of our brothers and sisters who are not well read, not well studied, and listen, because a lot of times now we have developed a culture of visualization. And what I mean by a culture of visualization, we want to see everything now. We don't want to pick up any type of literature and read any type of literature. We don't want to dig deep and research in depth on certain things so we can have a better understanding. That's too much work. So visualization is easy. So a lot of times we can be misdeceived when it comes to, I'm a visual person too, but I'm also a person who loves to dig deep, and research stuff, not just from a surface level, but dig deep into the information so I can have a better understanding about certain particular subject matters or whatever it may be, so I can have a better understanding. So this is another image. Africans run around fighting lions with spears. That's all in Africa. African brothers are running around in Africa fighting lions. And this is a Maasai, not Masi, but Maasai brother from East Africa. And I talked about the Maasai tribe. I even talked about them hunting lions, and the psychology behind lions with the Maasai people. And even going into one of their folklores, dealing with the lion as well. That's on Masi Warrior Clan. That's on our Masi Warrior Clan YouTube channel if you want some information about the Maasai people. But this is another image or another thing that people may say, man, all it is just a forest and Africans running around half naked fighting off lions, tigers, and bears, right? This is some of the stupid stuff that we say, right? All right, this is a gun. This is a young brother who has 2 guns, right? And this is another image that we see on social media, we see on news outlets, we see on blog sites, right? Our young African American brothers running around killing each other, running around toting guns, running around doing illegal stuff, right? Here's another picture of African Americans in a gang that originated in the United States, right? And these would be considered gang members. You know what I'm saying? A part of a gang. I wouldn't say a gang, because I say gang members. I wouldn't say gang organization. It's a difference between a gang banger and a person who's a part of a gang organization.
Yeah,
You was
and
finna say,
there's,
go
I
ahead, Quan.
mean, when we were kids, we used to see one with a long chain and stuff like that, with
Mm,
chains.
uh-huh. Yes, that's another image that they portray of us. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, you seeing this is another image of African Americans in these orange jumpsuits walking in these buildings, in prison. These guys broke the law. They are in prison. They are criminals. These are criminals that needed to be taken off the street and locked up. This is so I'm just painting the picture, you know what I'm saying? Just these images, right? Now here's another picture of our women, right? Our women are sluts, whores, they on child support. They, I mean, not child support, but they on welfare. You know what I'm saying? They don't have jobs. They dress, skimpy, sleazy, availing, showing off things that they shouldn't be showing off. Our women are whores and sluts, you know what I'm saying, and so forth. They prostitutes, and etc. Right? So these are some of the images, right? And I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, but I'm gonna come back. Before I do that, let's go into where are we learning these things from, right? So where are we learning? And we're gonna come back to this question. We're gonna come back to this question. Where are we learning these things from, right? So I wanted to build up something before we go into the conversation. Let me stop skim. So we're going to come back to this question. Where are we learning these things from? So I wanted to establish the conversation and go through and ask two particular questions. And that was one, what do you think when I say the word Africa? What is the first thing that pop up in your mind? And I also wanted to ask, my first question was, is there a difference between the African American and the African? So we established those two questions. People in the chat gave their answers. My brother Kwame gave his answer. My brother Sutek gave his answer on both questions. And then we went through some of the questions and some of the things that we say, some of the derogatory things that we say about our African brothers and sisters. And we went through some of the things that our African brothers say about the African Americans here on African American brothers here in the United States. And we say some of the derogatory things about each other, and we ask some of the ridiculous questions amongst one another's pertaining to us both, right? And so we're going to come back to where are we learning these things from? Where are we learning these things from? Why do we say some of the things that we say about our African brothers? And why do some of our African brothers and African sisters say what they say about their African American brothers and sisters here in the United States? You know what I'm saying? Because some are passionate about they don't want their African, they don't want to bring their daughter to bring, or their husband to bring an African American man home. And it's a reason why they say some of the things that they say. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason why when we see darkness, or we begin to insult people, especially our children coming up, why they say some of the derogatory things that they say. But even the grown men, even when we speak about the word Africa, like if I go right now, if I was to take my camera and I was to go downtown to the boulevard, right? And I stand at one of these things and I ask people and I say, give me, and I'm putting it on record. When I say Africa, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Most people are going to give me something that is ridiculous, far-fetched, way out there, you know what I'm saying, and even derogatory when I mention the word Africa. And that is because we have been conditioned a certain way and they have been conditioned a certain way, right? And we're going to, find out where are we learning these things from, and can we come up with a solution. Let me stop sharing my screen for a second. Well, no, what I'll tell you what I'll do. What I'm gonna do is, hey, Sutek, you still on here?
Yeah.
I'm finna put something. Hold on, let me stop sharing. Hold on. I'm finna put some in the back chat. And I want you, if you don't mind, would you share this video so I won't have to turn these other speakers on? Hold on. All right. Let me put it back here. Grab my phone. Give me one thing. Well, why I put that in the back of there, Kwame? What you think about some of that, man? We gonna watch a video, and we're gonna have him to stop the video, and then we're gonna break the video down. This brother video that we look at, he kind of put me. His experience is, I say, kind of similar to your experience. When I watched the little video, it's like 11-minute video, and as I looked at the video, all I could think about, man, this brother put me in the mind of Kwame. Kwame put me in the mind of Kwame, put me in the mind of Kwame, because he's a Nigerian. He's from Nigeria, and he left Nigeria and went to London or London or Paris, and he left there and he went to the United States, and he had a certain way that he looked at the African Americans when he was in Nigeria. He looked at them a certain way. He asked some of the same ridiculous questions, and he perceived Africans to be criminals. He perceived Africans to be thugs. And like you said a while ago, images of, us with the long chains on, we're popping, alcohol bottles, you know what I'm saying? So we want to, so he had that type of perception about the African American until he actually went to the United States, and then he got a better understanding about the African American. So now he don't have those negative images about, or negative thoughts about African Americans being thugs, being criminals, our women being whores or being prostitutes and lazy, right? Hold on, let me put that in. Let me see. Let me put this in here so you can have it. Shoot, let me go to it. All right. Let me know when you get it, Sutek. I'm putting it in there now. It says sent. Look in there and see if it's in there. So I'm gonna wait till he put the video up in there. And
I got it.
You got it. So he's gonna share the video, and then we're gonna walk through the video, and then we'll stop it. I have him to pause it. And as he's paused it, we can kind of talk about some of these things. We kind of build off what he's saying and go further on with the conversation. And some of these things are what I kind of already outlined, and you kind of, and we're gonna kind of get a better understanding, even the understanding of actually when our brothers and sisters actually come over here and why they come over here. It's certain reasons why our particular brothers and sisters come to the United States, and what they are greeted with when they get over here also was another subject. What they're, and we kind of already, if people that didn't watch the show a year ago, we kind of let people that experienced this, who actually their families actually came to the United States, what they was greeted with far as dealing with the African American, and what they was dealing with painted this perception about the African American where they did not want to deal with them. And that's why you will hear such things as do not bring an African American home, or you will hear the word akata, you know what I'm saying, which is a derogatory term, which means wild or wild beast in the Yoruba language to describe an African American. And why we would say certain things too, what we've been greeted with, we know growing up certain things that we're being conditioned, but we're going to go through that, because that deals with a part of the question that I stopped with sharing, that I stopped with after I stopped sharing my screen. So we're going to get into where are we getting this information from, where we having these derogatory why are we saying derogatory things, or we looking at each other in a certain way where we don't want to deal with each other, or even when we look at our brothers on the continent, we say some of the outlandish and foolish things, and we don't want to partake, you know what I'm saying, and going home to Africa. We go everywhere we take a vacation. When we get ready to take a vacation, nobody says Africa. Why is the African American, when we go, we'll go to Jamaica, we'll go to the Caribbeans, We'll go to Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? We'll go to all these other places, but nobody never go. Why do we never? Why that's not the first thing before we go to these other places? Why not? Okay, let's go to Africa. Or let's go home, because some of the African Americans don't even consider Africa home. And I'm saying those who are misinformed, those who are not well studied, you know, um, those who are visual individuals, you know what I'm saying, where they want to get everything from off the internet. They want to get everything, microwave real quick. They want to go to a video. They want to they want to watch the news. They want to look at the commercials. They want to listen to the bloggers, so, but we're going to get into that, man. So, Sute, you got the video?
Yeah. I'm about to play it now.
All right, for sure. Like I said, this brother.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode right here on V City. My name is Peter Ojum, and today I want to talk about something that might be a little bit controversial, but I think it's worth talking about. And honestly, I've been thinking about it for a couple years. I've been reading and trying to come to an understanding as to why African Americans and Africans have this kind of animosity. There's some sort of negative vibe going on between those two sides. And I've noticed it since I was born in Africa. I was born in Nigeria. And being born in Nigeria, you're living amongst Africans. And I'll tell you how I viewed African Americans from Nigeria as a Nigerian first. And then I'll tell you how traveling abroad, how I viewed Africans. If that makes sense, then you'll begin to see something. You I'll get to that. So growing up, I had this idea, this ideology from the media, from people around me, that African Americans were these ghetto, noisy, arrogant, aggressive, just criminal people. And for whatever reason, that just was justified in my head. It's like, anytime I would have my hat backwards or to the side, when I, like back in the 90s or early 2000s, even like adults would be like, put your hat forward, you're not a gangster or something like that. And I'm like, so all these different rap music was just seen as like I always saw rap music as like, okay, it's bad music, but like it's bad but cool music.
Hey, stop it for a minute, Sute.
Very sad.
All right. Hey, what the videos up there popping up there before I go into what he said? It says experience in that's on your end, ain't it?
That's the name of the name of the video.
No, I'm saying you don't see that where it says experiencing interruption? Find out why.
Oh no, I ain't see that.
Oh. All right, but let's talk real quick about what he said.
Okay.
Yeah, you see it, yeah. So let's talk about what he said real quick. Now, this brother here is from Nigeria, right? And I want Kwame to, kind of talk about this too, to kind of, talk about it as well. Well, I'm gonna ask you first, Kwame. Over there when you was there, there was there being pushed certain things about the African American over there when you was there. When I know you was born there, and you left and then you came back. What was some of the things that was said about the African American when you was in Africa?
Oh, a lot of negative stuff, like they are lazy, they have a lot of baby mamas here and there, a lot of negativity.
So where was a lot of these things? Okay, so who were telling y'all these things? Was it the people who was it the government that was telling y'all that? Was it these Was it predominant European or people that was telling y'all that that had these schools built over there? Where were y'all learning these things from in school?
Not only school, but the media,
The media. Okay, so y'all was.
TV.
Oh,
A lot
okay.
of There were negative movies coming out in the 90s. So in the 2000s, when I was back home, I used to see those movies on TV. So when I was around 12, 11, I used to see movies like that, which they were degrading African Americans.
So the TV is where y'all
Yeah,
got predominant y'all information from. Okay, and I can agree with that because a lot of the misconceptions about about our brothers and sisters on the continent also comes from TV. A lot of things I learned
yeah,
was from TV
and
about Africa. Was negative things about Africa was on TV.
yeah, and some of them they portray them as people who do drugs and all that.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. Okay. Okay. So you can see why this brother has a perception because see, Kwame is from Ghana. This brother here is from Nigeria. It's two different places in West Africa. It's two different countries in West Africa. And they both
Yeah,
have been conditioned the same way through the TV. You know what I'm saying? Through the TV outlets where they are portraying negative imagery, showing negative imagery, and saying negative things about the African American over here in the United States. And it is vice versa over there. I mean, it's vice versa here. Like I said, when I was growing up, and even still now you see it, but you don't see it as much. But when I was growing up, you know, and in the early, I'm gonna say the late 80s, the early 90s, all the way into the 2000s, I would see commercials about African people in a negative connotation all the time. And they will only show the bad parts of Africa because if I pull up right now and I show you areas in the United States, you gonna say this a third world country. It's oh man, what is you may say it's Africa, or you may say it's somewhere else, you may say it's Haiti. I don't know. But every country has a impoverished area. You know what I'm saying? Has a impoverished area. So we have been pushed and conditioned the same way to think negative about Africa. We have been pushed to think negative about, our African brothers and sisters. So this is the results of us saying and doing stuff, which goes back to what I'm saying, social distancing. You know what I'm saying? The African and the African American social distance themselves away from each other because of the misconceptions that they have. So in Africa, on TV, they are portraying African American men and women as thugs, criminals, whores, prostitutes, drug dealers, and users, right? And then over here in the United States, we're being pushed that Africans don't bathe, they smell, they run around in the forest, they swing from trees, they have sex with monkeys. These are some of the things that we say, and some of the things that we have. We know some of the things that we have. We have thought. You know, by being conditioned and by seeing these things on TV. Go ahead, play. Do you got some Sutek, man? Or you want to go ahead and if you don't, you go ahead and play the video.
Now I want to get it too ahead of myself, but I will say so we have to make note of the manipulation tactics on both ends of the spectrum. Um, in Africa as a continent and in North America as a continent, and I'll just leave it there. I don't want to go too ahead of myself.
All right. You go ahead.
Sad concepts, truthfully. Very sad. That was pretty much how I saw it. And why was that? It was because of the films, the movies, the news. And every time I'd see them on the news, they always lived in the ghetto. It was always like never something that was never something that I should ascribe to look to be,
Hey,
or
stop it real
something I
quick,
should
Sutek. Stop it real
desire.
quick. When what he just said, he said they will always show on the news of us living in the ghetto. And they would do the same thing over here. They wouldn't show the beauty. And and Trayvon Noah, he's a he has a show. I don't know what the show is on CBS. It might be on CBS or NBC. I think it's on NBC. And Trayvon Noah, he's if you look at this brother, you wouldn't believe that this brother is from Africa. And he's a high yellow. I think he's from South Africa to be exact. He's a high yellow man. He's been on have a successful show, and I think it's on NBC. And his name is Trayvon Noah. He also has a book. Okay, Robert Rand knows exactly who I'm talking about. And he did a thing where he put up, and actually this guy he's going to talk about the same thing. He did a show, and it's been a while back here where he put up a image, and he was showing, and he has a book out too. I can't remember what the name of the book is, but he put up images of the beauty of Africa, where he put up the megalithic buildings, these castles, these these beautiful erect buildings, these mansion houses, and then he put up areas, poverty areas in the United States, and and he people were thinking that these beautiful places that Trayvon Noah was showing was actually here in the United States, or wasn't in Africa, but those places are in Africa, right? So it is poverty areas within every country that you go through. So this brother said they were showing on the news that the African American was living in the ghettos. They was living in these poor areas, and vice versa. They would show these poverty areas in Africa of our brothers and sisters living in these poverty areas in Africa, and wasn't showing the beautification of Africa, because Africa is a beautiful place. So now they are painting a picture where now, especially I'll speak for me, that when I was growing up, that was a place that I did not want to go. That was a place that I did not want to associate myself with. That was a place that I didn't even think I was attached to those people. Again, I was young, growing up, even as me coming into my teenage years and me developing to a young adult. These were still the negative things because I have been conditioned through schooling, and then me loving to watch TVs, and through each episode they will show these commercials, and these commercials will always be in a negative sense when it's talking about the continent of Africa, or even talking about um talking about the different locations in Africa. I just always had a negative image that had been ingrained in my head. So it's been played both ways. Go ahead, Sute.
It was always kind of like, a mentality that was negative. It was just a very negative, demeaning mentality that I had personally towards African Americans. And the truth is, a lot of people I knew had that same concept about African Americans. It was not new. It's like those are not the people to mingle with, right? It's their fault. They're all in, they're they they have guns, and they're sagging, and they're you know all those things, and you know what I'm talking about. All right. So that was why I had those, was mostly the media and people around me, and just this kind of general culture. Now I left Nigeria, moved to Paris, and then I started looking at Africans as savages for whatever reason. I, I'm not going to spend time trying to break down why I thought that way, but started seeing them, with the spares. I'm like, even though that was not my reality, even when I was living in Nigeria and whenever I was in Nigeria, that was never the case. But I always saw, you know, Africans as like people who are backward, and we need the intervention of the rest of the world to save us. We're poor.
Hey,
We need
stop,
technology. We
stop it,
need
bro.
the world.
Wow. So he said when he left Africa, right? He's from Africa, born in Africa, raised in Africa, left for somewhere. I think he went to school or somewhere other than before in Paris before he came to the United States, and he began to think that Africans was backwards. He began to think that African was savage for being in his place, and I guess being in his place, them, him maybe hearing people speaking these things, these ill will things about Africans in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Him seeing negative images about Africa, and that's the same thing. We believed, coming up that this is a place that needs to be saving. You know what I'm saying? These people are uh backwards. You know what I'm saying? These people are primitive. Now we begin to speak like those negative um in what I would call them, these negative Europeans who were writing during the 40s and the 50s that was talking about Africa, the dark ages, you know what I'm saying? And they would say that these people was backwards. And this was a lot of stuff that was going on in town. They was writing a lot. And a lot of these writers that was writing and these foreign investigators, you know what I'm saying? And these guys have never ever been to Africa, but they will write all these negative and derogatory things about Africa, about our African brothers and sisters, how primitive they were, how savages they were. So these are a lot of things that you actually can go back and you can look and see and look in historical record that these guys was actually writing these negative things. Now, when you start to get other people to go into, even when they created paleontology and they created archaeology, all of these individuals was funded by these big institutions, right? And a lot of these people too that was going in, some of these guys was prejudiced, you know what I'm saying, coming out. So they would write about different things and write about their experiences in Africa, or didn't quite understand certain things that our brothers and sisters was doing, you know what I'm saying, in Africa. So, and they, so they was, like I'm saying, so they would say these terms, demonic. They would say that our Africans are primitive. They would say that our African brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying, was paganists. You know what I'm saying? They would say that our African brothers are backwards. They would say that these people need to be saved because they didn't understand these certain types of things. And then we began to start to think and say and use some of the same verbiage that they was using in the 30s and the 40s when they was writing in their newspapers about Africa and writing, writing negative things about the continent of Africa and writing negative things about the people who inhabited that place that we calling Africa, Africa today. So, this was crazy for me when I seen this, that this brother, born and raised, lived there most of his life, moved, and then now he have been conditioned or have been, or now he's thinking about his own people or being, being savages, his own people or being backwards. Go ahead, you can play it. I just thought that was just kind of interesting. He'd leave and then go somewhere else, and then now he starts to have, he starts to think the same way that we think about, or how we was taught to think about our African brothers and sisters.
World to help us and save us from starvation. And I kind of believed it. I always just saw Africans as, always the dirty, poor people, no, but lack of good, clean water, etc. And why was that? Once again, the media and just what I was learning in class and just everything, and this is, you can see that, like, that's self-hate. I saw myself, there was an inferiority complex. I didn't want to have anything to, like, I'd rather be like, when people ask me where I'm from, I'll try to evade the question because I feel like then they'll see me differently, or I am I don't know how to put this properly, but my point is African. I'm not saying I was an African American, but when I did move to the United States, um, pretty much what a lot of my friends who were black knew about Africa was just like in the jungle, the mighty basically Kenya, or the safari, or lions, zebras, and giraffes. And the truth about this situation is that there is little truth to these things, but they are the way those. So it's not the full picture. The way a lot of African Americans who are not exposed, who do not understand what it means to truly be an African. Um,
You're the guy with the gun, the person who would do anything to protect the ones.
a lot of African Americans who don't understand see Africans in a very demeaning way, like lower than them. And a lot of Africans see African Americans as lower than them because none of the other two sides understand. If you're not exposed or well read, none of the two sides understand that is not the truth about each other. Yes, you don't deny the fact that there are many countries in Africa that need help. There's a lot of places that are ghettoish in the United States that a lot of black people live. But you have to understand over policing, under policing. You need to understand redlining, why they're in those situations. And the annoying part of it is that it's not what represents the whole. So what I'm saying is this: when you go to Africa, it's not everywhere's not dirt and garbage and poor people. I mean, we have places in Africa that are more beautiful than places in the United States, in France. There, where we just don't see those things. We're not taught those things in school. We don't know about those things. And so when you also come to the United States, African Americans are not as criminal as you think. They are the ones who are being over policed. They don't get loans, they don't get jobs, and all these things lead to those tiny truths about what you see on TV, but it's not the truth about them. And so where I'm getting at is this: if you are one of those people that you think that African Americans are poor, ghetto, noisy, aggressive, especially if you're black, you're African, then you need to start reconstructing and unlearning everything you've learned. Everything you've learned, because you are being fed the wrong information. That is not the truth at all. It's very little of it's a very small part of the picture, and it's for a strong reason. For a reason I don't want to go into. If you want to know more about why African Americans have a lot of the situations that they're going through, you can watch the Netflix documentary or YouTube documentary called The 13th. That, I think, encapsulates it without you having to read books and spend a lot of time. My point here is that I think that it's about time that African Americans and Africans, I'm not asking to work together or anything. I think that's something that needs people who are powerful to do anything. But I think it's about time that we realize that we're all black. We are. Regardless of where you are, the rest of the world sees us as black. And we shouldn't have to fight amongst ourselves. I understand, some people say things like, oh, well, where were the Africans when we were going through things in the United States? Africans were fighting their own battles, with apartheid and civil wars
Hey,
and
stop it real quick
independence.
right there. It's
But
almost over with, but stop it right there, Tute. It's almost over with. And what he said, like I heard this like recently. I heard this recently about um, you know, why certain people don't fool with Africa, you know what I'm saying, or go as hard for Africa, you know what I'm saying, or really associate themselves with Africa at all is their reasoning behind what they saying is where were the African when the African American was going through what they was going through? You know what I'm saying? Where were they doing, the civil rights movement? Where were they doing the Jim Crow area? Where were they when we were coming out of slavery? Where were they to help us? We see so many um you know, and just them saying we see so many of our brothers on this soil, the United States, that goes hard for Africa, you know, and I'm one of those brothers that they was actually talking about that goes hard for Africa. You know, I consider myself a Pan-Africanist. You know what I'm saying? I love all Africans, you know, you know what I'm saying, no matter where you are, you know, whether you in Jamaica, whether you're in the Caribbean, whether you're in you know, some part of South America, whether you in Africa, whether you in some part of the United States. But you know, their contentions is that you have to understand, well, you have to understand this too, why Africans, you had a particular time where our ancestors were actually being kidnapped, you know, taken to the Caribbean, Brazil, all these different places, and then going into the United States and etc. So then you had another part that took place in Africa where you had colonization, right? So you had slavery in one place and you had colonization in another place. You had these white European powers per se that started to carve up Africa, right? If you go look at the Berlin Conference, I have a presentation where I go in detail, full detail about the Berlin Conference, where they met at, why they met, why they choose to carve up Africa, what particular places they carved up Africa. Some of the places that we call these countries today wasn't called those countries. Those European powers began to call some of these areas, these places that we call there, but certain places in Africa, these countries wasn't called that. But you know, looking at them, they carving up Africa, they going into Africa, they began to colonize Africa. Everybody on here, you know, is, you know, pretty well studied, you know what I'm saying, or some kind of study, those in the chat as well. So I don't have to go deep into what colonization is. So you had colonization started, then um you had slavery over here, right? So they was going through some of the same things that we was going through. And then even after we was freed, so-called freed with the Emancipation Proclamation and officially in 1865, you had people that was still practicing slavery when it was illegal to practice. You know what I'm saying? Still trying to come across that ocean. You know what I'm saying? With cargo of our ancestors, and even, you know, going to the Arab slave trade. When we talk about the Saharan slave trade, and even after we was so-called free, you still had Arabs that was practicing slavery. I mean, still practicing slavery, right? All the way up into the 20th century, you know, and then we just seen some form of it not too long ago. But not only that, then you had civil wars that was taking place. People was fighting, you know what I'm saying, amongst each other, because you had where two particular groups that was kinsmen, you had certain people that was in the middle that was instigating, where they would give certain people guns and particular powers, certain assets, which I'm saying is still not right, and pinning those people against the other groups of people. And then you had in East Africa, when you look into Sudan, South Sudan, those people was fighting against the Arabs at that time. They was trying to get up under the Arab government at this time. So they was fighting for themselves. They was fighting for their lives themselves. So while we was experiencing our hardships and going through what we was going through, they was also going through something too. So how can they help us if they can't help themselves, or they trying to help themselves at this time, right? So, you know, I just wanted to, because that was just something recent, you know, and that was just something, because I already looked at the video, but that was just something when I looked at the video when he was saying, you know, so that sentiment is shared, you know, worldwide by people on why they particularly don't want to fool with Africa, because we go too hard for our African brothers and sisters, but our African brothers and sisters on the continent don't go as hard as us, you know what I'm saying, and where were they during these times, which the African American is still experiencing things till this day. We're still experiencing these things. He just talked about redlining. So we know how, you study redlining, you know what I'm saying, and you study, certain things when it was talking about the 40 acres and a mule, and them rewarding all these Europeans, all this land, and they were supposed to have been given the free African slaves all this land. They began to give it to their European counterparts. Then they began to come up with something with redlining, restricting people from getting these loans and etc. So, and we're still facing some of those hardships. We still facing those things as we come out of as we came out of slavery. So, I just wanted to paint that, share that they was colonized after they was, slavery was taking place in Africa, West Africa, and Central Africa. You know what I'm saying? We always talk about West Africa, but we have some of our brothers and sisters who here ancestors stem to Central Africa. There were more Africans brought, you know what I'm saying, here, than, brung across that ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, than those in Central Africa. But our brothers and sisters in Central Africa was also kidnapped, you know what I'm saying, and brung here. And they was also given away by one of the kings in Africa. I already talked about that and talked about, even shared some of the letters on what happened when we talk about prisoners of war, but that's a whole nother story. But go ahead, Kwame, you had your mic open. You got something?
Oh no, that was me. My bad. I didn't even know my mic was open.
Oh.
But while it is open, I see in the chat we have Aaron Parker. Now, this was a brother who came on to the link that one of the links that I shared in the groups, and he shared his sentiment about us loving the people who sold us over here and et cetera, et cetera. So I told him to come on to the platform and express his opinions on it. So this is what he said. Let's talk about how blacks in America came back to Africa and built Liberia, and Africans strong-armed it from us when it began prospering.
Okay, now let's talk about that. Come in, because see, that's what you have to give proper context, right? You have to give proper context. The African American did not take Liberia. It did not take Sierra Leone. And see, these things, we have to dig deep. And I talked about these things. Let me see. I don't know if it's that book. I got a book, and I got a few books on the same subject matter when we talk about what happened here in the United States, where you start to see people going back to Africa after slavery or a certain period after slavery, and they had help. They had help going back to Africa. You even had European powers who went and tried to broker deals when we talk about Sierra Leone and we talk about Liberia and them setting up a country, particularly when you're talking about Liberia and you see the flag and them creating stuff. You had to understand, when those people left and went to Liberia, they didn't know what they was going to be into, because when you study, those Africans that was in Liberia was mad with the African Americans, but the African Americans didn't know. When I can't think of the guy name that tried to broker the deal. He went to the chiefs and tried to broker a deal to get land to bring these masses of people from the United States to Liberia and set up a country for those people in Liberia. So when these African Americans went to Liberia, they was under the assumption that the deal was already brokered for them to have this land. Didn't know that after the land that it wasn't brokered. The deal was looking like it was going to be brokered, and the chiefs was going to give a certain part of the land. Something happened where they didn't do it. So those people went back in and did something in Liberia. We know what the Europeans always do. right? We know what they do. We know what they do when they set their foot everywhere on every piece of soil. I'm not going to go into that. So it wasn't the African American who came over there and took the land. The land was already took by the people who came to try to broker the deal to get them over there. And when these people left to go over, I might do another show because I talked about this in the show and I pulled up documentation. I pulled up dockets. I pulled up documentations. I pulled up journals of people who was actually on the boat when they was coming over here. It was two archaeologists. I can't remember their name. They was husband. They was married, and one of them documented everything that happened. The wife documented everything that happened when they arrived in Liberia. And then she talked about, in one of her books, she talked about what happened when they got over there and the Africans began to wage war against the African Americans and was feeling a certain way about the African Americans who came to Liberia. But the Africans and Americans didn't know what had happened because they was under the assumption that the land was purchased by these people who supposed to have brokered the deal, and it was good. It was okay for them to come over there and start a new life over there in Liberia. I'm going to do a show about that. Matter of fact, but you can come on. Does open Liberia ports to Canada, Chinese, and European ships? Aaron Parker, he can come on. There's the link in the thing. Come on, so we can, if you want to come, and we can deal with it. We can talk about it. But you got to give proper context, man, when you're talking about these things, man. So you are painting a negative picture about those African Americans who went to Liberia. That's going to be my next show. And I already did a show on the Mossy Warrior Clan. Well, I talked about the American Colonization Society. You need to pull up the American Colonization Societies. You need to pull up the New York Colony Society. You need to pull. There was one in Mississippi, right? It was one in Mississippi, 30 minutes away from where I'm from. You had the Mississippi Colonization Society, who you also had brothers from the Mississippi, right where I was from, that actually went to. Well, no, they went to Sierra Leone. They didn't go to Liberia.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we hear you. Peace, bro.
Peace.
All right, we don't hear you no more.
Yeah, we can't hear you no more. Yeah, we can't hear him no more. And that you correct. Hold on, let me put land was sold that wasn't supposed to be sold. That was one of the major issues plaguing the settlement. Right. And that's why I'm saying if he goes, and I'm gonna get those two archaeologists because who were actually on the boat, right? We're gonna get those. The woman, I can't think of, they're two Europeans who was on the boat and her documentation. You know what I'm saying? Or her being, he dropped off, so maybe he having some type of issues. But we just have to paint the. We can't put it all off on. There he is. All right, say something.
Okay, what I was saying was the reason why the colonial powers backed Doe was because the Black African Americans who went to Liberia, they went there and wanted to establish relationships with the Soviets.
You done went back out again, man. We can hear like you saying something. I hear your image moving, but your sound is not coming through anymore.
All right, I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on there.
Yeah, I hear him on my end.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, what I was saying is the reason why the colonial powers backed Doe, the African, was because he wanted to work with the United States and open up the ports to Europe and Canada, and our people wanted to work with the Soviets.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
And so it was actually his desire to work with the Western powers that caused the toppling of Liberia. So it wasn't our bad.
So who is he? So who is he?
Doe?
I don't know if this on my end. Can y'all still hear?
Yeah, he just cut out that time.
Yeah, I'm saying he cutting out. Yeah. You something going on your end, brother. You keep cutting out.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, we go.
Yeah, we can hear you.
He was the one. He was the one who kicked off the Civil War.
Okay, so who is he?
On orders of the colonialists, because they did not want us to work with the Soviets.
Mm-hmm.
When you say he, who are you referring to?
That's all I'm asking who he's referring to.
He was the 21st president of Liberia. He was the African who stole reign from the. He went in there and kicked off a coup and strong arm and took the country from our people.
Damn, he keep going out. Can y'all hear him? I can't hear him.
And then it turned into a shithole. And because the Western powers decided to fund both sides and have them mutually destroy each other. Had he not chose to work with the Europeans, that wouldn't have happened.
So you saying the president?
And I'm not making this up, man. I'm not making up none of this. This is all researchable.
Right. No, hold on. I want you to slow down. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm asking, because I'm understanding exactly what you're saying. Now, who is he? You said it was a president. Name what president he was, and was he a president? Was he the president of how long was it before this individual was the president? Because what we're talking about is right now. What we're talking about is how they ended up over there. We're talking about how they ended up over there. Those Africans who went over there didn't have a clue of what was going, what was about to transpire when they got over there. So go kind of slow down, kind of dial it back. Now, who is he? This president, what was the president? How long was he the president? Was he a free slave who left the United States and moved to Africa, and then later on he began to set up this coup as you began to explain? Kind of go back. Can y'all hear me? Am I still?
Yeah, well, we hear you. He just fell off again.
Oh, he done fell off again, man. He gonna have to get his stuff right, man. But
he says he said the 21st president of Liberia.
So who
his name was Samuel Doe, right? He was an African person. He wasn't an ex-slave. He wasn't from America, none of that. He was an African.
Okay. Now see, that's what I'm trying to get you to. Cause I don't want people to be confused, like you saying that this president was a president who came from the United States, established their settlement in Africa, staged the coup, and did all these things that you're saying. So okay, that's why I'm telling you, because I'm following what you're saying. That's why I'm telling you to slow it down and dial it back so everybody can get an understanding of what you're saying, because people can be under the assumption that you're talking about it, because where you was explaining, I was under the same thing. I'm like, wait a minute, it wasn't a ex-slave who came from the United States there. It was a person who was an African who always, but I ain't gonna say always, who was there on that landmass. So that's why.
But when he came into Liberia, he came in with Western funded soldiers and strong arm took the land back on behalf of the European powers, because our people refused to let them have a port for Canada and Europe. And he was willing to work with the Americans. We were not. We wanted to work with the Soviets. And so they armed him. He came in, started the Civil War, took power, killed all of our leadership. And then ever since then, Liberia has been a shithole. So it's not like we didn't come over there and try to put something together. Now people say that wasn't your land. Hold on. If we all African and we come over there and establish something, then don't we have just as much of a right, since we African too, is what everybody keeps saying? We can't come home and build nothing.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you on that. But what?
So then why did he feel entitled to come take out our leadership on behalf of the white man? Because we wanted to work with the Soviets, who were going to fund us and help us fight against the white man.
Okay, so what does so my question is, so what does that president have to do with, unless I read your comment wrong, what does that have to do with the African American going over there? Because we're talking about two different things right now.
Now, what I'm saying is there was a time where we went over there to establish ourselves and integrate back into Africa because we supposedly African. And the person who came in and destroyed our efforts was an African working for the white man.
Okay, so now see that's why I'm confused. That's why I was confused at. So
and that's why I gave y'all the name Samuel Doe, so you can look him up for yourselves.
I already know who you're talking about. I mean, I know who you're talking about. And everything that I know exactly who you're talking about. But that's
so we came over there nation building, and he destroyed our nation for the white man.
Right, but I'm saying now I'm understanding what you're saying because I didn't have no understanding. I'm thinking you saying
right. I feel you. Okay.
No. No. Because what I must have read your comment wrong. I thought you were saying the African Americans.
No.
Okay, that's it. I read your comment wrong. You know,
yeah, we knew better. Because see, we came from slavery, so when they went over there, we knew better than to do any deals with the American or Western powers. But the Africans didn't seem to learn their lesson. So they went around the side and started working private deals with Canadians, Europeans, and America to open up ports for them that we decided to close up. We were going to work with the Russians. You know, America and Russia have always had a tumultuous relationship. This man got a bunch of rebels, came in, killed everybody, took power, and refused to let any of our people back in the leadership. And then the country turned into a shithole.
But yes,
but if you look up pictures of Liberia when it was under our control, it was beautiful. Look at it under African control, and it looks like shit. It looks worse than Haiti.
So can we use Samuel Doe as the standard for how all Africans feel about African Americans?
Honestly, I believe so, and here's why. Wow. Okay, I've been to Africa. Have y'all ever heard the term Akata?
Yes, I just talked about the word Akata. We just went into
now. I've been to Africa. They didn't look at me as an African. They looked at me as a damn ATM machine.
Okay, now
hey brother, come to my shop. Okay, hey brother, buy my shit. Listen. But they was talking shit on the side.
Right.
I understand. I've been to Burkina Faso, Ghana. I've been to well, go ahead.
No. I don't mean to cut you out. See, you just jumped onto the show. Like you just jumped on. So you didn't.
I was asked to
for the show. Right. You cool. You welcome.
Right.
That's why we put the link in there. You more than welcome. We would like to have a dialogue with anybody that want to jump on. That's why we put the link in there. But what I'm saying is you missed the beginning of the show. Like we talked about some of these things and why they say, and we say, I even showed what we as the African American has said about our brothers and sisters in Africa and what we have said. And what the African has said about the African American, and we on here trying to establish why we are so social distance. Why do they use the term Akata? Why do we use the word African booty scratcher? Why do we look at them in a demeaning way? Why do they not want them to bring an African American male or woman home? Why do they think negative about us, and why do we think negative about them? And why
let's look at it like this. We don't have, us African Americans don't have a history of pointing out Africans to be sold to the white man or to the Arabs. We don't have a history of going into African nation or going into nations that we started building and destroying them on behalf of the white man. The Africans have a long history of fucking us over, excuse my language, and we supposed to just let that ride every time it happened because we all black. But we supposed to chastise the Arab and the white man for their role.
Give it some context. Like give it some context. See, that's what I'm saying. You have to study the whole thing on the ins and out. What I'm saying, I'm not saying what they did was right, but give some context on why.
Do you know why? Do you know why Haile Selassie really wanted African Americans to come to Ethiopia? Do you know his real reason for it?
Share it with us.
He wanted us to come be laborers. He didn't want to bring us over there to liberate us. There's a long history of Africans exploiting us, and they do it even today, selling us all they kente cloth and bullshit, but then they come here and don't want to be around us.
And why is that? Why don't
they got the issue, not us?
We both have the issues. We
justify based off experience.
No, we not. How?
Yes, we are. Them niggas sold us.
Listen how you talking about. Listen.
I'm telling the truth. Y'all don't like it, but it's the truth. Did the Chiefs not apologize for selling us to the white man?
Brother, everything, bro.
Did we sell them?
everything that you talking about, bro. You talking to some people who are well studied. So what you talking about, we understand exactly.
Okay, when did we do it back to them though? When did we ever do anything to wrong them? One time. Name one thing African Americans went over to Africa and fucked up for them. In fact, they wouldn't even be able to come over here and have the comfortable first world lives they can enjoy without us carrying the weight of the civil rights movement. Wow. But they come over here and call us Takata and all kind of bullshit. They got the problem.
Hey, this is what I need you to do. I need you to go back and look at the top of the show. Or this is what I need you to do. I need you to go look, and I need you to get an understanding on both parts. Like you need to get.
You keep saying both parts, but what did we do to them?
Wow.
What did we do? Tell me, what did we do other than say some mean shit? What did we physically do to stop or mess with their way of life?
How we was gonna mess with their way of life when we was going through what we was going through over here?
Exactly. But even while we was going through that and we tried to come over there and establish, they still treated us fucked up. Then Haile Selassie had the nerve to try to bring us over there under false pretenses so we can labor for him.
Who treated us fucked up? Who went over there and who got treated fucked up? Who?
Man, we went over there and tried to establish our own colony in Liberia, a landmass that they were not developing. People act like we went over there and took their shit. It was land that nobody was doing nothing with. That's why we went there.
I think you're using anecdotal situations.
Anecdotal? No, man, that stuff happened. What are you talking about? Did it not happen?
Do you understand what anecdotal is?
No, you
what
don't.
That mean?
No, you don't.
Just like you taking certain African royalty, merchants, traders, and trying to use what they did to us as the standard for all African people. That like it don't make sense.
I'm looking at their leadership, because that if you could use that same anecdote to say, well, not all white people had slaves, so everybody's complicit.
Our politicians have the same thing. We do the same. Our politicians do the same thing here. The same thing. They are being.
They not our politicians. They don't. They puppets. I'm talking about Africans who rule their land.
Okay, give me some context. That's what I'm saying. Give me some context. Because what I'm saying is you using one situation. I'm gonna give you a couple situations. Number one, they rounded us up and sold us to the white man. Yes, they did, and to the Arabs. That's strike one. Why?
That's strike one. Strike two.
What happened?
Strike two. Strike two, we went over and built up Liberia, and they went and took the shit from us and fucked it all up. That's strike two. Strike three is they come over here to America and think they're better than us. That's strike three.
Let's go back to strike one.
Yeah.
You said strike one is they rounded us up and sold us. Who was they?
Mm-hmm.
The people apologizing for it. It's literal chiefs saying, "Hey man, we sorry we did that shit. We fucked up." They not hiding from that.
Okay, so like I said, that's African royalty, merchants, and traders.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put that on.
But do you think an African king was physically going and snatching people up, or you think he was sending his people to do it?
That's
what royalty get off the throne to go grab niggas?
So if
he was sending his people to do it, and they was doing it.
Put in the order. If they rejected it, did they have a choice? Did they actually have a choice?
You always got it. I mean, shit. I mean, you could say, well, there's always a choice.
Yeah, the choice is
just like they how come they could topple our leader in Liberia, but they can't topple their own corrupt leaders? Why they go help? Man, come on, man. Y'all giving Africa way too many passes. I want nothing to do with them niggas personally, because I already know.
Well, we gonna let you go, brother, because over here we hold on before you even go. You know, I hate that you feel that way, and two, we don't sensationalize Africa. We share the good and the bad. Then just one. So you won't go running or whatever you say and say these brothers sensationalize Africa.
I'm not finna talk about it after this.
Right,
I already said what I had to say.
Okay, that's cool. Like I'm saying, but I'm not gonna let you insult. But we don't sensationalize Africa. We give the good and we give the bad. You see what I'm saying?
All right. Well, can I say one more thing? Africa pays reparations to European governments. Won't they pay something to the people of Liberia who suffered under that bullshit they did?
Who pay? Who? You said
Africa pays reparations. Matter of fact, the reason why the whites got their farmland back is because the Queen went over. The Queen put out an order saying y'all better get that shit back or we gonna stop the aid.
Queen who?
Africa has enough authority to make shit right. They got all that gold and shit. Won't you give us some money?
Queen
give us some type of repentance for what you've done.
Queen who?
We sorry for slavery, nigga. Give me some bread. Do something to help me. Matter of fact, carve out a piece of land over there and say, come back and we gonna make y'all right.
Queen, I'm asking. See, you throwing you man. You rambling and you
No,
need to.
it ain't. Why should we have to ask?
Okay, all right. Well, we appreciate you coming.
Y'all acting like I'm being unreasonable.
Yeah, you being very
How?
biased. That's what I'm. And then you not give
No, I'm being honest.
you
You
being
admit to selling us. You admit to doing all this shit. Then you should say, man, let's make amends. Let's make a meaningful amends. We're gonna carve out a piece of Ghana, and y'all come here, and y'all can have this little area, passport free, and we're gonna chip y'all some bread so y'all can put yourselves back together. That sounds like penance to me.
okay.
Instead of a apology, they ain't apologizing to the white man when they sending him money every month.
All right, man. We appreciate you,
I mean,
man.
y'all laugh, but shit, am I wrong?
Now, you way off on some stuff, and then you're not giving any proper context on nothing.
Man, y'all just don't want to hear it, man. It's cool, man. It's cool.
What you mean we don't want to hear it?
Man, niggas over here asking these white folks for reparations. Why? Why are we asking for reparations?
Oh, hold up, bro. Ain't no nigga on here.
Okay, well, Negroes is over here asking for reparations. Why?
Ain't no nigga over here.
Why? Okay, ain't no niggas over there. Okay, fair enough. Why we asking the white man for reparations? What is the reason behind it?
Bro, I appreciate you for coming on. I'm not even finna argue.
See, y'all don't want it, man. Y'all, all right, man. I'm out. It's cool. It's cool.
All right. Well, go ahead.
All right, it's cool. Y'all want some other shit, man.
Nah, yeah, you want some other shit. You not well studied, but I understand you find what you need to bag. He find what he need to bag his own sentiments. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to get the brother to slow down and talk and get some context. What he's saying, some of the stuff that he's saying, I agree with, especially when he was talking about Liberia. I understand exactly what he's talking about. He's way off on some shit, you know what I'm saying, on some stuff that he's actually talking about, brother. And I hate it that this brother feel the way that he feel, but he got every right to feel the way that he want to feel. But I'm not finna sit back here and go back and forth with him. He on nothing. He don't want to listen. He's biased. You can tell that he don't study both sides. He studied one particular side that fits what was suiting for him.
He sound hurt.
Yeah, he do. He sound hurt. I mean, he sound hurt. He sound hurt. I hope he's able to get over whatever he's able to to get over on man. But shit. I don't forgot what we were going. Let's go ahead and finish listening to the rest of the video, because the video was about over with, man. Everything said this dude is a fool. Kick him off, bruh. Kick him off. People fought back. That's what. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at some of the comments in here, man, and round us up. He's a Hebrew. Hold on, man. Go ahead and play. I'll go ahead and play the rest of the video, man. I will look at
put as much effort into trying to liberate their brothers and sisters abroad. But a house divided by itself cannot stand. And that's just the truth. And I wish that, my hope is that people, Black people across the world, begin to realize the truth about each other.
A house or a laptop?
I believe that every African American should have an opportunity to study and learn more about the greatness of things that are in Africa. There's empires, there's castles, there's so many things you would not expect. You know, Trevor Noah once did a spot on TV where he's like, guess the country. And he put pictures, and people all thought the poor ones were African, and the ones with high-rise buildings and skyscrapers were all, you know, Europe or whatever. But it was actually the other way around. The ones that looked like it was the ghetto, poor people, children without water, was actually in the United States. And the ones with the high-rise buildings and the skyscrapers and the fast cars was all in Africa. And a lot of people, especially Black people, don't know that. And so we have this negative attitude towards each other that should not be, because we don't know the truth about each other. And I don't deny the fact that a lot of African countries have a long way to go in terms of infrastructure, corruption, just things to be fixed. But that should not then completely degrade the idea of Black people across the world, Africans and Black people. Movies should not dictate to you what you think about African Americans abroad. And that animosity, you know, you have African parents who tell their kids, I don't want you playing with that black boy outside, that African American. See the way he's dressing, see the music he's listening to. It's like, you don't know, you don't understand them, and you're degrading them, you're looking down on them. And then we carry that, and then we pass it to our kids, and they carry, oh, those Africans, look at their food, look at their dances, you know, who want to go to Africa? I don't want to live with lions and zebras. That's not even how it is. You know, it's like, that's like a fraction of how things are in Africa anyway. Coming to the close of this video, if you know someone like that, please educate them. And if you are that kind of person, please, I understand you might have some, what's that word? Reservations, especially negative ones, criticisms about African Americans or Africans, but please start letting those things go and begin to see these people as your brothers across the world, because to the rest of the world, we're all black. So keep that in mind. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned something. If you didn't learn anything, well, I hope you were able to teach someone else. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And thank you to all of you who have been liking and subscribing and watching all my videos, both the funny ones and the, you know, every style of videos that I'm doing. Thank you so much for sticking around. I appreciate you. Have yourself a
Yeah, you go ahead and cut the video off, Sutek. And we got Kwame still on here. I want to get his thoughts on some things, but Aaron Parker, he must not understand. He must not know there's things that's been in the works, still in the works, and stuff that has been established for us over there. He must not understand. He must not know that. What was it? What was, I know you deleted his comment. What was his comment? I just briefly looked at it, and I know I read his other comment wrong. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, is Africans serious about connecting and carving some land, throw some money at it, and fly us in there, then assist us till we can integrate, show some effort, damn, an apology. Does he not know that there's places that's been set up and people from America people have migrated to Kenya? There's places carved out for us in Kenya, in Tanzania. If you look at our brother Benu, Benu has some land over there. I forgot how many acres of land that was given to him. He has, I don't know, maybe he said 30 acres of land in Tanzania. You have places has been carved out for us in Burkina Faso. There are people in America who have places in Burkina Faso. You have Professor Small, who has some land carved off in a hotel in Africa. You have man, you got so many places where they'll welcome us, you know, and carved out a place for us to come. Like I don't know where you been, or you been up under the rock. They have not just set out an apology and not did nothing. Those who have wronged us, they have tried to make it. They have tried to make it right. They are making it right. So they not just apologizing. That's what I'm saying, brother. You have to stop speaking about something that you don't know anything about. And then some of the things that you talk about, I'm not saying that you were lying about some of the stuff that you lying about. I'm just saying you moving too fast, and you have to break it down so that the audience can have a better understanding of what you're talking about. But I can do understand. I do see that you are biased when it comes to your research information. Like when you're researching something, even if I disagree with something, right? I'm always going to approach it from two perspectives. I'm not going to go and find information that suits the way that I feel about a particular thing. Oh, I'm right and this person wrong. That's not what you do when you're researching something. You have to look at it from both sides of the coins. But you have people to go and find information that suits what you already standing on. You see? And then, like I'm saying, even with stuff, I like context. I know you was rapping in some of the stuff that, like I said, you were saying. I understand exactly what you were saying. You're on a panel with people who study Africa. You know what I'm saying? Who study the culture, who study the tradition, who studies the history in Africa, who study the history in South America, the Caribbeans, you know what I'm saying, who study, and love the culture, you know what I'm saying, and study the history over here in the United States, man. But you can't look at stuff and approach stuff from a biased perspective. Because even at times when I feel like which I never do, I don't know everything. But when I feel like, okay, I'm well studied in a particular thing and somebody presents something to me and I feel like a certain type of person wrong, I go back and I do my due diligence of research. I follow the research on my side and then I go on the unpopular side, because what you're saying would be, kind of unpopular, and I would study the unpopular side, and I will yield. This is what I'll do. If the research presents itself all the way for the right, then I will yield my perspective on certain thing and go with what the evidence, what the information has laid, what the information has laid out there. Peace, brother brother Satep and Rod. What up with it?
What's up, Kofi? What's up, everybody?
Chilling, man. Chilling. Kwame, you still on here? Kwame, you still on here? I don't know what happened to our brother Kwame. I kind of wanted to get his thoughts on some things and kind of wanted to try to go into the conversation. So let me ask y'all something, man. What do y'all think? You know what I'm saying? Well, what would be some of the solutions? What would be some of the solutions where we're able to work with each other? What is some of the solutions where we able to respect one another? What is some of the solutions of us unconditioning the way that we think about, each other? We know, let's go back. Hold on. Let me go back. I'm gonna share my screen. Y'all let me know on my screen sharing.
Yeah, you good.
All right. So where are we learning these things from? We learn things from news, the media, school, and Western religion. Some of these perceptions that we have about each other on both sides, we learning, as you see, brother Kwame that was on the panel earlier. I don't know what happened. I still see he's on the panel, but he might have stepped away. And before we went into the video, we talked about he talked about him looking at movies and learning things from movies and from the news, learning negative things from the movies and the news about the African American over here. So they was painting a picture that we were thugs, we was criminals, we toted guns, we were drug dealers, we was users of drugs. Our women was lazy, whores and prostitutes, and we, was painted the same thing between news and media. Like I said, me growing up, and I know early in the late 80s, the early 90s, all the way through the 90s, as I was growing up, me looking on TV, there was always a commercial. After my favorite show, there was always a commercial painting Africans as being backwards, Africans as being savages, Africans being primitive, Africans need to be saved. Africans are not intelligent, and I got a lot of this from the news. I got a lot of this from the commercials that that I was reading. I mean commercials that I was looking at. Hold on. Let me go here. And it's gonna let me change it. So for as long as time, the 20th century during the Jim Crow year, in particular, African Americans were encouraged to shun the ideal of connection to Africa, to think poorly of Africans, to celebrate traits of themselves which supposedly distance themselves from Africa. In other words, to think themselves as more cultured, more Christian, more white, more civilized than Africans, and therefore to love, therefore to look at Africanness as a matter of shame or a kind of taint and the need to be avoided. Now, this is the sentiment that I was feeling when I was growing up. Like I told y'all earlier, I didn't want to be associated with Africa. I didn't want to be associated with people from Africa. I looked at Africa as this primitive country. Not country. I might say country. I didn't know it was a continent at the time. So I looked at Africa, looked at this one big country, what I'm saying, that needed to be saved by, the European, because even in that me being conditioned, I was always thought that even the African American wasn't smart, because of the things that I read in school and the things that I seen far as whites owning everything. So, I always would say, I'm going to take my stuff to the white man. You know what I'm saying? I'm going over here where these white folks at, So even, I not only was I conditioned, what I'm saying, that Africans weren't smart, but I was also conditioned that the African American, what I'm saying, wasn't smart. You know what I'm saying? And us in general had nothing to do or contribute. We had no contributions to civilizing the world, or we had no contributions in the world at all. It was all everything was brought by, what I'm saying, the European. Damn, I wish Kwame was still on here, because I had a few more questions, and then I wanted him to kind of, talk about the crazy Zane I still have to sleep. But shoot, man, that's all I have, man. But I wanted to talk about some of the solutions, man. Aaron, that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant in all this apology with nothing behind it. Brother, go do your research. They are not. I just named a few countries that they actually have carved, and what I'm gonna do is, I want you to email me at and I'm gonna put it in the. I'm gonna put my email in the chat, Aaron. I want you to email me. I'm gonna send you my number, and what we're gonna do is, we gonna have.
Yeah, Hebrew, Kofi. Like,
Hebrew.
That's what I asked him. That's why he said it's irrelevant, and so I put two and two together. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
why I said, bro, only a Hebrew can hate Africa with this much passion. Like, white folks don't even hate Africa like that.
Wow, that's crazy. And then, like, I'm saying, like, some of the stuff that he's way off on some of the stuff he's talking. And that's why I'm saying I wanted to come back and have another conversation with the brother. But this time, like, I wanted to show some stuff, like, especially the things that he's talking about that they just apologized and they ain't did nothing. That's a lie. That's why I named a few countries, you know what I'm saying, that I know, like, right off the rip, that they have carved and people are actually over there and thriving. Tanzania, go look at Tanzania, is one place. Kenya is another place. Ghana is another place. Nigeria is another place. These are some of the places, and I'm not, and we can say Sierra Leone too. I know the place in Sierra Leone. I know quite a few people that's in Sierra Leone that I actually can get on the phone right now and call and talk to. And I can actually even show you things of how they've been working together to bring, you know what I'm saying, to correct some of the things that they have done, but not only do that, but just make it greater for all of them over there. But I didn't know the brother was a Hebrew. Well, wow. So you know, they say they closer to the, and he ain't said nothing. He ain't say not one word about the European, did he? He didn't say nothing about the European bad. Because you know, they say they closer to the Euro. Then they say, ain't they say they closer to the European than they is to the African?
Why he so worried about Zimbabwe? Why he worried about one country paying somebody reparations? It's like 54 countries in Africa.
Right. And then he using a measuring rod for what happened in Liberia with everything that's going on in Africa. But we not saying there's not corruption over there. We know it's corruption everywhere. It's corruption everywhere. We know that we had particular people who participated in the slave trade. We know we can give context behind, not justifying what they saying was right, but we gonna give context on what happened, on why that they did some of the things that they did. You know, while you blaming them, you're not blaming the people who manipulated, who pushed propaganda, who gave those weapons, who told lies about another tribe, why they starved off another group. You know, they use starvation tactics. So we gotta talk about the tactics as well. Some of the tactics that they use in order to get these people to do certain things, raising the taxes, converting people or die. So it's so many different reasons that we can go into why certain people did what they, did, and we're not justifying some of the things that they did. What they did was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Slavery is slavery, but slavery is slavery. I mean, I'm gonna say what they did was wrong. I ain't gonna say slavery is slavery, but what they did was wrong. However we utilize it, where we say prisoners of war, whether we say what's the other slavery that they be talking about, whatever form of slavery is wrong, man. You know what I'm saying? So again, we're not sensationalizing Africa, but you're rambling. You're not bringing any type of context to anything. You're off with some of your information that you're actually talking about, and now I kind of get an understanding on why you're saying what you're saying. I get an understanding of what you're saying. He's still in there. What the fuck does citizenship do with I don't know. He must be talking to somebody else in the chat, man. But shoot, man. You got anything else?
He worried about somebody giving out some reparations, man. He ain't worried about trying to come over there and build no businesses. He trying to worry about them giving him something. Hey, man, they're not giving you nothing, dog. You over here in the biggest marketplace in the world. Get that money, man.
Hey, you want to go over there and get something for free.
Right. You can't.
Oh, my God.
Where you get your homeboy from? Where your homeboy come from? You say you know him, huh?
Who?
Aaron.
Oh, nah. I don't know him. I shared the link.
Oh, okay.
He commented on the link. I told him to come on through.
Yeah.
Commented with that madness. So I told him to come on through. You know what I'm saying? Conversation is welcome. I didn't know he was gonna be that vengeful.
Yeah, he hurt bad, dog. He is hurt. He is hurt bad. Ooh, he hurt bad, man. But but appreciate you.
Slaved his ancestors, man. Made them build pyramids and all type of shit.
Colonials. Yeah. But man, shoot, bro. That's I'm still sharing my screen. Hold on, let me stop sharing my screen. Well, we understand though, man. You closer to the white man than you is to hold on, let me stop sharing. Hold on, man. Damn, if I can get back out. Let's see. Hold on. And that's what they said they genetically. Ooh, oh my bad. He said that they are the Hebrews say they are genetically closer to the white man than they are to the African. Ain't that what they say? I'm asking.
I heard him say that.
Yeah. They are closer to the white man than they are to the African man.
I mean, the real Jew, that would make sense for the real Jews, not these black people, African Americans walking around saying that. But yeah, for the actual Jews from that region, from that area, yeah, that makes sense. But that ain't them though. I don't know why they feel some type of disdain towards the people that look like them and share genetic ancestry with them. Like it just, I don't know.
Yeah, what they don't admit to, unbiased peace, unbiased talk. What they don't admit to. He says, how comes Africans don't admit that? What they don't admit. He might be talking to somebody else in the chat, but I'm trying to understand. There's too many comments in there now for me to go back and try to follow what they talking about. I don't know. But I was just asking, man, how come he said, how come they don't admit to that? I'm trying to see what they didn't admit to. I don't know, maybe mine's slow on my end. But man, shit, that's all I got, man. I was trying to see what it is, and I was gonna go back up, man, and try to read some of these comments and then kind of talk about some of the stuff they talking about in this chat. But it's too many now, man. Too many now, man. But I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come, not today, but I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna clear up some of the stuff that our brother Aaron Parker talk about. So I'm gonna talk about. We're gonna go into the colonization societies. We're gonna go into the colonization societies. I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna put something together because I'm gonna talk about the colonization society, which there were more than New York, you know what I'm saying? There was Baltimore Colonization Society. There was the Mississippi Colonization Society. We're going to talk about those, the guy who was initiated to go over there to broker the deal. We're even going to talk about the guy that he's talking about came in and destroyed what the African had built, even though the African, not that, but the African American who went over there didn't know that what they was about to partake in when those Africans in Liberia wanted to wage war against those African Americans, leading up to the individual he said came in and destroyed the settlement, you know what I'm saying, for European power. We're going to talk a little bit more about the things that he's talking about. They're the only thing that he said they're apologizing that they hadn't did anything to mend what they have done. So are we going to talk about and even show some of the things that they have actually carved out and show some of the people who are actually thriving in a few places that I actually named, you know what I'm saying? So they are, you know what I'm saying, trying to rectify the situation, man. But and I hope he get whatever he looking for. He won't, like he say, he wants something, want him to give him something. Are you asking your European brother? Are you asking him for something, or you just want something? Or are you gonna highlight what your European brother did? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe you will behind closed doors. That's what we do. We gonna ride with our brother, but behind closed doors, we gonna chastise him. So, and I understand you say the white man's your brother, and you closely related to the white man and then the African. So I get that. Ghana and Nigeria alone can rectify this by carving out the land, flying us in and helping us develop land. Brother, they are already doing that, brother. They are already doing that. And that'll be something I'll talk about. But I'm gonna talk about Ghana. I'm gonna talk about Nigeria. I'm gonna talk about Tanzania. I'm gonna talk about Kenya. And there's a few other places that they have exactly what you're saying they're actually doing. They're actually doing. They're actually doing. And where are the other places that y'all have? I know y'all say y'all have the what is it? Dimona in Israel. What is it? Dimona, y'all? Is that the
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Dimona in Israel. But I from my understanding, they being treated bad over there now. They being treated bad over there. But I could be wrong. But man, if ain't nobody got anything, man, I appreciate everybody, man, for tuning in to the show. I don't know how long I said I won't. Let me see what time it is. I know it's probably, I ain't even got my phone. Where the clock is. I know it's way past the time that I said. Oh yeah, it's way past how long I wanted to be on here. But I hope y'all appreciate the little build that we had, man. Hopefully y'all can kind of understand why they look at us as criminals, thugs, and why we look at them as backwards and savages, and how, so, I just want to kind of explain some of the things on how we was, how both sides was conditioned on why we look at each other in a certain light, and even how we look at Africa in its totality. We look at Africa, in this disdain and this tasteful manner. And I wanted to get Kwame, who was on earlier. I see his avatar still on the panel, but he, like I said, he must have had left or had something else to do. To get his perspective, on his experience in Africa and his experience coming to America, and so how he looked at us before he actually arrived to America, and he kind of talked about that as well, man. But shoot, bro, I won't say peace, man, and Black African power. And we out of here, man. We'll see you when we see you. I'll play the outro video. I was gonna play some music, but hold on 1 second here. We're gonna play this little outro video. Let's see where it's at.
It's in the place we all get a share. Niggas gon' hate, do I look like I care? I was dealing with pain, frustrated with life. How many were there? Thanks to the few for staying true. I owe this to you. It all comes with paying your dues. Some couldn't walk a day in my shoes. Light on my feet, never light in the ass. You hummingbirds can't say you're mumbling word I'm way out of your class. Oh, do I say y'all master degrees? Life is a test, every day is a task. Progress to your best, give it all that you have. Rip up the block, peel the paint off the F. Never lose sight of your goals. I made diamonds from doubt, turn my grief into gold. My destiny was set in stone. They selling ass and selling souls. Hands off Asada, hands off my pocket. You know that chopper, bodies probably rock the blocker. All they heard was bow, 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 sound like Waka Flocka. Straight to the top about it, ain't no doubt about it. Best believe we on the road. No limit, so we body, chiefin' on a whole lot of woe. Number one with a bullet, no. Similarly, boost hit the function, we Hennessy. I feel like 96 Tennessee. Yeah, ho, I'm on they head, fo. Always ignoring the sound. Now I put more in they mouth. Don't call me a king when y'all giving whores the crown. Y'all niggas watered down, and me, I'm prohibitionary liquor. I'm like a 9 on the Richter, sublime state of mind, no ordinary nigga.